Hi, welcome. I'm Ann Weiser Cornell, and this is Support for Stressful Times. Times are still stressful, maybe even sometimes it feels getting more so. That's what's true for me anyway. What I want to bring you today as a fundamental message is to be gentle, kind, and loving toward yourself. I've met so many people in my life who are not gentle, kind, and loving toward themselves, who feel like they need to feel bad about themselves. They have some kind of inner message of, I'm not a good person. I've made mistakes. I've done things that are horrible, or I simply am horrible. I hope it's not that bad for you, but let's take some time right now to pause and allow the feelings of feeling good about yourself. You're a fundamentally good person, aren't you? I mean, it's easy to see that about other people, friends of yours, people you love. They're fundamentally good, even though maybe they've made mistakes. Well, it's true about you too. And what would it take to pause and let yourself feel love for your own self? Well, we're pausing together right now, and that often involves just feeling your body, wiggling your toes, feeling your feet, if that's possible for you. Feeling the body contact on what you're sitting on. Letting your breath arrive, being aware of your breathing. And noticing the inner area of your body. Your throat, your chest, your stomach, your belly. And letting awareness come especially to your heart, if that works for you. And can you feel your heart embracing yourself? Your own sense of being lovable and good hasn't always been supported by other people. It hasn't always been supported by outer circumstances. Hard things happen. And I bet hard things have happened to you as they have to me. But the hard things that happen to us don't make us bad people. And you can be gentle with those places in you that maybe still feel bruised or hit by the hard things that have happened. Let's be gentle to those places. It's been hard to go through that. See if you can, put a gentle arm around yourself and say, yeah, those things have been hard. And here we are now. Being gentle to yourself, maybe even pausing to see what in you might especially be needing love and care and company right now. Places that you might be carrying that feel hurt or inadequate. There's an inner critical voice that we can get that seems to want to tell us that we're not good enough, that we haven't done it right, that we failed. There's something about that inner critical voice that I'd like to share with you now. And that is that it is also a scared young part of you in need of love that's expressing itself through inner criticism because it's so scared. What if it's possible to even love your inner critic? Something worth a try anyway. How is this landing for you? Can you relate to what I'm saying? Pause and sense your body and ask yourself, is it possible to just be gentle toward myself right now? possible to be kind to myself, to say, I'm doing the best I can. You're a fundamentally good person who's doing the best you can. And what comes when you say that to yourself? I'm a fundamentally good person who's doing the best I can. Maybe you feel, yeah, that's right. Or maybe it brings up a part of you that says, no, you're not. You could do more. You've made terrible mistakes. That's the part I'm saying is another worried young part of you that also needs love. Do you have a criticizing part that tells you haven't done enough? Can you turn toward it and say to it, yes, I hear you're worried about me. What would happen if we could bring the light of acceptance toward ourselves? If you're doing that already, good for you. How are things going in your life? What's bringing stress for you these days? Do you want to tell me about it? Do you have questions for me? Is there something you'd like me to say more about? Feel free to write that in the chat. But right now we're pausing and just trying on this possibility. The possibility of being kind to yourself right now and all day long. How do you feel when you make a mistake? I remember watching a friend of mine preparing food and she made a mistake. I think she maybe even cut herself with the knife. And she said, stupid, stupid, stupid. That's what I mean. Ordinary little daily mistakes and something in us jumps in and is angry or unkind at us. Oh, you cut your finger. Oh, my finger. Oh, I'm sorry. That hurt, right? What would it be like to be kind to yourself, even when you make mistakes, even when life isn't the way you want it? Some people are writing in the chat. Lily says, this feels so warm and welcome and just right. And I'm sensing another younger me who believes she's bad and will only be punished. Lily, that's so beautifully said. So you can be kind and warm and welcoming. And because you are extending that welcome to every part of you, you can feel there's a younger you who believes she's bad. Oh, so let's be very nice to that younger you. Marian writes, the part of me that wants me to do more doesn't criticize. It's just scared of what happens if I don't do more and more and more. Okay. You're already sensing that part is scared. That's a great step, Maria. Next step, invite it to, very kindly, invite it to let you know what it's scared will happen if you don't do more and more and more. What it's scared you'll have to feel, what it's scared others will think about you, what it's scared you'll have to go through. It's about the fears of that scared part of you, not about whether you're a good person. Yes. Daniel writes, however a critic behaves, he's part of me. I love him, Daniel says with a heavy sigh. I don't necessarily like him, but I love him. Yes, I have people in my life like that too. And our inner critics are in us. Kirsten writes, I'm struggling with a critical, hopeless voice a lot at the moment. Okay. Telling me that everything is hopeless in various ways, that nothing will ever get better in my life, that my life is sad. So Kirsten, and anyone else who has something like that, it's so interesting to me that when a part of us gets very worried and scared, it speaks as if it knows for sure what is true. I have an example of a human situation like this. Let's say you a friend are driving to an appointment. You're going to the movies. Way back when there were movies. You're going to the movies, you're going to a party, you're going to a safe dinner with friends who are all vaccinated. And as you drive there, suddenly there's a traffic jam. All the traffic slows to a halt. And your friend says, "We're going to be late." Well, you actually don't know whether you'll be late or not. You don't know how quickly the traffic will clear up. Notice how definitely this person says it. We're going to be late. And what that person really means is, I'm afraid we'll be late. And so when a part of us says everything is hopeless, nothing will get any better, it's saying what it's afraid is true. It doesn't know. Who knows? It's saying what it's afraid is true. So notice when you hear that kind of definite, you're doomed, nothing will get better, things are hopeless, you are hopeless, sort of that very strong, definite voice inside. What if we hear it with different ears? We understand that's a part that's saying it's worried that this is true. We hear the voice saying everything is hopeless. And we say back to it, sounds like you're really worried that the truth is that everything is hopeless. And we say that with kindness. Sounds like you're really worried that the truth is that everything is hopeless. And then just see if you've made a connection with that part. If there is a sense that, yes, it is worried about that. So I'm just looking in the chat again. Scott says, I feel the weight of what I've done, how I've hurt others because of my limitations and weaknesses and addictions, and it's hard to move past that. Scott, I'm so glad you shared that, because I know that feeling very well, and I'm sure others do too. It's what we call regret. There are things I've done that have hurt others, and I'm really sorry, but I can't go back and change things. And does that mean that I'm a bad person? Is thinking that I'm a bad person the only way to atone for the ways I've made mistakes and done things I'm sorry for? Maybe I can also be kind to the younger me who did those things. Maybe I can understand that at the time that I did things that hurt others, I was missing some resources that I would have needed in order to behave in a way that I'd be proud of now. When you think about a regret from the past, you were younger then, right? It's not you now that did those things. It's the younger you, even if it was a year ago, or, well, even if it was yesterday. But it's probably longer ago than that, I think. I was younger then. I still take responsibility for that. I need to make amends if amends are needed. But I can also be kind to the younger one that I was. I did the best I could with the resources I had then. This way of thinking has not made my regrets go away completely, but it helps a lot. I'm much more calm about them. They don't torture me like they did. Eleanor writes, when I do get criticism from others, then it confirms what an inner critic says. It's like a confirmation, I'm not good enough. Yes, that can be difficult. We have an inner voice saying I'm not good enough, and then it comes in from outside as well. That can be very difficult. And there might be some truth, right? Just as we were saying about regrets, there might be some truth in those criticisms if they're about mistakes we've made ways we fail to live up to our own values or the values of our community. There might be some truth in that. Then we can learn, we can grow, we can say, oh, I see now. I wish I had done differently. And I did the best I could, given the resources I had. And now I'm a growing and learning person. So even when others criticize us and we realize I didn't do what I wish I'd done at that time, I'm really sorry about that. Hope I'm learning. It doesn't make you a bad person. It's the scared part that thinks those mistakes are somehow an essential truth about you. It's something you did. Yeah. Silva writes, my inner critic keeps busy. Part of me believes it keeps me on track. It's necessary to get things done. And then I sense its arrogance and I laugh. Yeah. Well, maybe there was a time in your life when a part like that was what did get you out of bed in the morning and get your homework done. And I wrote a whole PhD dissertation that way. But that's because there's a resource missing. If the inner critic is the only thing getting us doing what we need to do, there's a resource missing that we can grow and develop, and probably since then we have. And that is the ability that I, not my inner critic, can be the one who makes wise choices. I can be the one who decides, okay, this isn't so easy, but I need to do it, so I'm going to do it. I wash the dishes instead of leaving them in the sink. Things like that. It has to get done. It's not because of an inner critic. It's interesting. I used to do exercise because an inner critic told me I was bad if I didn't. But guess what? The exercise wasn't fun, and it often didn't get done because another part of me could successfully resist the one that said you should do it. Wasn't a very nice way to live. Either resisting a critic or having the critic win. It's just not a very nice way to live. There's another way, and that is to have the choice to do things, even things that are hard, from my whole self. Not because I've got somebody with a whip inside. So here's a little story about that. I like taking a walk every day. I like it, but it also is hard and not always convenient. And maybe it's easier to sit down and get on my iPad. So I would come in the door from work. It would be time to take a walk, my usual walk after work each day. And a voice in my head would say, you should take a walk. And then a reaction would be, maybe not today. I did it yesterday. And then I'd sit down, pick up the iPad, get lost in games or something. Then I thought, what if I change the way I talk to myself? There's a part that says, you should take a walk. There's a part that says, I don't know, maybe do I have to? And that's not working very well. What if when I come in the door, I say, I'm curious about whether I'll take a walk today? It's not a should. And it's not a, I don't want to. It's I'm curious. Well, 100% of the time when I walk in the door curious about whether I'll take a walk, I find myself putting on my walking shoes and going back out the door. So there are ways to be gentle with ourselves. We don't actually need an inner critic to make us be good. We can access that place in us, that larger self that can make wise choices. And one of the main ways I do that is through curiosity, not through should. If you find yourself saying should to yourself, be careful, because there's often a reaction to should that ends up with things not going well. But instead, can we be curious? Daniel says, don't even get me started on what I did in the past. But then I consider what I was stuck with as models. Yeah, you can be forgiving of yourself, partly for things you did, partly because what you know were models that didn't serve you. Barb writes, I feel blank as I reach for chocolate, Cheetos. Underneath, I feel hopeless about everything, and especially at night after dinner. Yeah. So that place underneath that feels hopeless about everything is a place to be very kind and gentle with. And I think I hear in what you're saying, Barb, that there's some criticism of yourself for reaching for the chocolate and the Cheetos. But you know, right now, that's the best you can do. And just to be curious without unkindness about what is the real need here. And we'll see what happens. So Marianne writes, I find it okay to be kind to the part of me who's scared, but the part that's scared is not very patient. And I still can't protect it and myself enough. It doesn't have to be patient. Only you need to be patient. How do you draw on your own resources of patience? I feel it's important to do that by coming into your body, feeling your groundedness, and then just continuing to turn toward anything inside you with, hello, I know you're there. Something is impatient. Hello, I know you're there. It can be impatient if it needs to. What if we treat everything inside us as just how it is, without needing it to change? And we say the words, I am here. I am here with all of this. I am the space where everything that I feel can be the way it is. Eleanor asks, how do you like the idea of posting little notes to ourselves to remind us to be kind to the inner critic? That's a wonderful idea. Yeah, it can be easy to forget that. And I think a little note is really great. Yeah, very nice. Good. Thank you so much, everybody, for all the chats you've been saying and the kindness in the chats that you're offering to each other. So nice. And isn't it easy to see when other people write what good people they are and how well-meaning they are? Well, the same is true of you. Fundamentally good and doing the best you can. And that the part of you that says you're not, that says there's something wrong with you, you're, whatever it says, it is scared. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. That worried, scared part of you that thinks it has to help you by saying what's wrong with you, it's been there a long time. So although you can feel it makes some kind of difference right now to acknowledge it and say hello to it, you're going to have to do it again. And maybe even make an intention, a commitment to yourself that you'll do it whenever you remember to. You can even put up little notes to yourself. When I hear something in me saying I'm bad, or it may not be a voice, but it may just be this feeling, I'm hopeless, I'm bad, use this language. Something in me says or feels I'm hopeless and bad. It's a magical language that I feel is really important to include in our self-care practice. So whatever you're feeling, I'm hopeless, I'm bad, change it to something in me says or feels I'm hopeless and bad. When you do that, you can start to feel the difference between you and that part of you. It's a part of you. I am here acknowledging something in me feeling hopeless and bad. So the something in me is really powerful language. I love it. And when you can feel that it's something in you, you may feel it in your body, or it may be sort of outside your body, but it's still not all of you. It opens the possibility of a relationship where you can say hello. Hello, I know you're there. Hello with curiosity, hello with kindness, hello with compassion. Inner relationship. So who is in the inner relationship? These different parts of you that we've been talking about, the part that feels kind of small and young and downtrodden and regretful, and the part that says you've not done things right, you should feel bad. Those are parts. And who else is here? You, the whole you. We call it self in presence. And you have the capacity to turn toward any of the somethings inside you and to say to each one, yes, I know you're there. Yes, I know you're there too. I'm here. You do not have to feel good in order to do this. You don't have to first feel big and calm and peaceful and wise. The process of acknowledging what you feel actually takes you in the direction of feeling calmer and more open and more wise, even a little bit. So I'm sensing something in me. Try it right now. Whatever you're feeling as we're talking about this topic, I'm sensing something in me that feels like this. And I'm saying hello to that. And I'm here with you. You can put a hand there if you want to. Feel that difference. That difference, even if it's little tiny and incremental, repeated, takes you there over and over. That's the life I want for you. Sarah writes, my focusing partner this morning reminded me that instead of obsessing about the bad thing that was stuck on me, I could shift my focus to strengthening myself. Beautiful. Yeah, it's the self that can be with the parts that is who you are. Andrea is writing in the chat about the fact that this is my last Support for Stressful Times webinar for a while. I'll be back because I really enjoy doing these. I do need some time. And Hilda writes, your voice is like a gentle rain. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. Wish you well. Keep in touch. Take care. Bye for now.